Hi, this is Manish Chauhan, and this video belongs to Jagoinvestor Wealth Club. This is fifth part of the series called Estate Planning. In this video, we are going to talk about succession laws. In the last video, we saw what is will and how it is created. And in this part, we'll see that what happens if a will is not present. So let's move ahead. Succession laws in India. Succession law comes into picture when a will is missing or it is not written at all. It is a legal way to divide someone's wealth among legal heirs. There are three kinds of succession laws in India mostly, like Hindu succession law, which governs Hindu, Jains and Sikhs. And then the Sharia Act, which is for Muslims. And then Christian law of succession, which is for Christians. There are several other succession laws also, but we'll talk about the three laws here. And in this video, we'll talk about mainly Hindu Succession Act, and we'll quickly see the Sharia Act and the Christian law of succession. Now, we are going to discuss Hindu succession laws, and we will consider that the person in question who died without the will is a male Hindu. Now, in this case, all the relations are divided into four parts. That is class 1, class 2, agnate and cognate. And the first preference is given to class 1 legal heirs. If there is no one in class 1, then we move to class 2 and then agnate and then cognate. But even if one person is there in any class, we don't move to the next class. All the wealth goes to that particular class. Let us understand who belongs to class 1 legal heirs. Wife, son and daughter, mother, widow of dead son, children of a dead children like grandchildren's, widow of dead son of a dead son, and then children of dead son of a dead son. These are the seven kind of relationships which come into class 1 legal heirs. Then let's move to class 2 legal heirs. If there is no one into class 1, only then this class 2 comes into picture. Father, brother and sister, parents of dead parents, siblings of dead parents, siblings son and daughter, brother's widow, children of dead son of a dead daughter. Understand this relationship properly. You can see the graph which clearly shows that children of dead daughter, and then children of dead daughter of dead son. These are the relationships which come into class 2 legal heirs. And then the third one is agnates. Any person who is related by blood or adoption through the chain of males only link. We'll see this example here. On the right hand side, you can see two pictures. One is of a male and a female. Now, on the left hand side, there is a dead person. Now, these two people on the right hand sides are called as agnates of this dead person if they are related to this dead guy by blood or adoption, but only through the chain of male links. You can see here that the whole chain has to be male. In the same way, cognates is very much same, but the only thing is that in the whole chain, a female can also appear. So now you can see the chain can also contain woman. So these are cognates. Now, let us see some of the important points here. A child in womb is treated as separate entity, just like a born child. So if there is a pregnant woman, there are two entities here. First is that woman and the other one is unborn child. The unborn child will have his own separate share. A murderer loses the right of inheritance. In the movies, you must have seen one of the children murdering his parents for the property. But in real life, a murderer will lose all the legal rights of inheritance. And the last one is that if there is no legal heir, then all the property, all the wealth goes to government. Now, that was the case in case of a male. What happens in case of a woman? If a woman dies without leaving a will, this is how it is divided. The first preference is given to husband, son or daughter, and then grandchildren, children of dead children. If these three are missing, if there is no one in the first category, then the second one comes into picture, that is legal heirs of husband. If there is no one in the second category, then mother and father, and then legal heirs of father, and then at last legal heirs of mother. Note here that this is the hierarchy in which it is divided. If there is anyone present in the first layer, then all the wealth goes to them in equal proportion. If there is no one in the first layer, only then the second layer comes into picture, then third, and then so on. So this was the case in case of woman. Now this is the case when the woman has acquired all the property or all the wealth by herself, or she has got it from her husband. But what happens if she has inherited any property from her father or mother? If she has inherited any property from her father or mother, in that case, the first right will be of father's heirs, of mother's heirs, and not husband, but only if in the absence of his son and daughter. So if she doesn't have any son or daughter or grandchildren, in that case, all the property which she has acquired from his father, that will actually go to her father's heir and not the husband heirs. This is true only for the property which is acquired by father or mother, and only if it is acquired by her husband or it is acquired by herself, then the first right will be of her husband's heir, in case there is no son or daughter. I hope this point is clear for you. We will see an example on this. So let us say that if a property is acquired from parent side, in that case this second layer will actually move to the last. So anything which she acquires from parent side, the second layer will then have mother and father, and then legal heirs of father, and then legal heirs of mother. The first layer is always husband, son and daughter, or children of dead children. Now let us move to the next slide. Now we'll see some of the examples which will give you a clear understanding of succession laws. Let us say that in a family there is husband, wife, son, daughter, and mother. Now let us say that the husband had some property. We can see this property as 4 units of wealth. Here you can see 4 bundles of cash. Now let us say husband dies and there is a will written by him, and in the will he writes that 50% of his wealth should go to wife and 50% should go to the mother. In that case it's very easy. 50% will go to wife and 50% will go to mother. But what if will is not present? What if will is not written? In that case, you can see that wife, son, daughter, and mother, all these 4 people belong to class 1. And in that case, all of them are going to have equal rights. So each of them will get 25% share in the property. So it was a very simple example. We'll move to the next one. In this example, there's a husband, wife, son, and father. And the person in question is husband. All the wealth belongs to him. So he had 4 units of wealth. This wealth can be anything. It can be house, it can be demat account, it can be shares, whatever. But we are depicting it through the bundles of cash. It's easy to understand here. Now, suppose husband dies and the will says that everything should go to my father. Now, in that case, everything will go to his father because in the will it is clearly mentioned. But what if will is not present? If will is not present, then can you see that wife and son belongs to class 1, but father belongs to class 2? We have seen this earlier, that which relation belongs to which class. So in this case, wife and son will share this property in equal proportion. That is, half of the property will go to wife and half of it will go to son. The father will not get anything because the will is not present. Now let's move to the third example. Here, the person in question is husband, and he doesn't have wife or children here. Say they are not in question, not in scene. And he has a sister, but she's no more, and she had 2 children. He also has a brother and father. Now in this case, let us say that he has 6 units of wealth and the husband dies. Now you can see, let's say that will is not present here. Now first check that is there any class 1 legal heir here. If you see here, there is no one in class 1. Brother doesn't belong to class 1, father also doesn't belong to class 1, sister and her children will also not come into class 1. So there is no one in class 1, and hence class 2 comes into picture. Now all these three people are in class 2. Father is in class 2, hence he will get 1/3. Brother is also in class 2 and he will also get 1/3. And the sister is also in class 2, hence 1/3 property, that is 2 bundles of money, belongs to her. But because she has 2 children, that 2 bundles will be divided among them and one bundle will go to them. So I hope you have got a good understanding of what happens if one class of legal heir is not there. Now let us move to a little more complicated example. Here the person in question is wife. Understand this example very well. The person in question is wife. The wealth belongs to wife, and she has 4 bundles of cash. She has, let's say this is some wealth, it can be in a saving bank account or whatever, and she has 2 houses which are self-acquired. She has earned money and she has acquired both the houses from her own money. She is dead. What happens to the money? Who is in class 1 for her? For a woman, if you remember that the first layer belongs to husband, children and grandchildren. So there is a daughter and there is a husband and there is a sister also, but sister is not going to be in picture. So half of the wealth will go to daughter and half of the wealth will go to husband, because they are going to have first right on the property. Now let us go to the second example, where we have very much same example. The only thing is that the houses are inherited from her father. Now what do you think about this situation? Because the house is inherited from father, what happens to this? Who has the first right on this property if the wife is dead? It will again be daughter and husband. Remember, the first right will always be of husband and children and grandchildren, whatever the case. So even in this case, half of the wealth will go to daughter and half of the wealth will go to husband. Now sixth example is something which will teach you more on this. Let us say that this wife and this mother-in-law, her husband is dead, her children are dead, or whatever be the case, but they are not in the scene, and her mother-in-law is there, her husband's brother or brother-in-law, you can say, he is there, and his sister is also there. Now this sister is a real sister of this lady. So there are 4 bundles of cash and 2 houses which are inherited from father. Now you can see that because this woman is in question, there is no one in the first layer. That is, there is no husband, there is no children and there is no grandchildren. Hence this now let us say that she has 4 units of cash which belong to her, which she earned or she got it from her husband, and there are 2 houses which are inherited from her father. In this case, let's talk about the cash first. Because it is her own wealth or it was acquired from her husband, the first right will be of class 1 legal heirs of her husband. Okay, and that would be her mother-in-law, that is the mother of her husband. So all this wealth will go to her mother. And if you talk about the houses, because it was inherited from father and there is no one in first layer, all of that will go to the legal heir of her father, that will be her sister. So I hope this example has given someone some good understanding of Hindu succession law for women. Now we have completed Hindu succession law, and now let's move to Muslim succession laws, and quickly let us complete it. So let us understand some rules here for Muslim succession law. In Muslim succession law, there is no difference between inherited or self-acquired wealth. Okay, there is no demarcation like that. As per Muslim succession law, only 1/3 of property can be divided as per will. Rest has to be done as per succession law compulsorily. And the third point is that out of the total wealth, the first step is to pay all the funeral expenses and all the debt out of the property, and from whatever remains, that can be divided. So these were the three important points. And now let us see what are the rules of division, how the wealth is divided. That is divided into two steps. The first step is that wife gets 1/4 of the wealth in case there are no children. But if there are any children, then she gets 1/8. After that, each of the parents are going to get 1/6 of share. Once this step 1 is complete, we move to the step 2. Now, after wife has taken her share and parents have taken their share, there will be some wealth remaining. And now that will be divided among children. So, if there are sons and daughter both in the family, then rest of the wealth is divided between them in such a way that each of the son's share is double of each daughter's share. Let us take an example here. Let us say that the total wealth to be divided is 50 lakh rupees. Okay, among sons and daughter. And there are 2 sons and 1 daughter. Then how do we divide it such that each daughter's share is half of their brother's share? So both the sons will get 20 lakhs each and the daughter will get 10 lakh. In that case, this whole thing will be applicable. So each son's share will be 20 lakh and that will be double of his sister. So that is the first point. Now if there are only sons, let's say there are no daughters. If there are only sons, then the rest of the wealth is divided equally. If there is only one daughter, then she gets 50% of the balance property. And if there are 2 or more daughters, in that case, they will share 2/3 of the property equally among them. And in case there are no children, then brothers and sisters will come into picture and they will share the remaining property just like son and daughter. So if there are 2 brothers and 1 sister and there is no children, in that case, all the brothers will get double the share of all the sisters. And let us say that there is no sibling also. There are no children and there are no siblings. In that case, parents will divide the remaining between them in equal share. So father will get half of the property and mother will also get half of the property. So this was Muslim succession laws. Now we'll quickly see Christian succession laws. And this one is pretty simple. Out of the total wealth, 1/3 will go to widow. That's very simple. And rest 2/3 will be divided among all the children in equal parts. If son and daughter is dead, in that case, their children will get it. So grandchildren can claim the wealth. And the third point is that if there is no child, in that case, 2/3 will go to the father. If father is not there, then mother will get it. And if mother is also not present, then siblings will be able to claim it equally among them. So I hope you have got a good understanding of the succession laws. We have discussed Hindu succession laws in detail and we have touched upon Muslim succession laws and Christian succession laws in brief. So this was the 5th part, and now we will move to the 6th part and the final part, which is action list. We'll see a detailed list of action on what all one needs to do from now onwards. Thanks a lot.